We don't want to celebrate a pathetic artist, they said. So I left. But 5 years later, they saw me on TV and suddenly wanted to be part of my life. Here we go. My name is Nain, and I just finished my final exam at Riverside Art College. For years of studying art and design on a full scholarship, and I'm finally about to graduate. The college is 3 states away from my hometown, but every mile was worth it to escape my family's drama. I have a twin sister named Rachel. We were born on the same day, obviously, but you'd never guess it from how my parents treat us. Rachel has always been the golden child. In elementary school, I loved drawing. I'd spend hours sketching cartoons and designing posters for school events. When my art teacher recommended me for the district art competition, my parents called it cute but told me not to get distracted from real subjects. Meanwhile, Rachel got a trophy for spelling bee participation, and Dad displayed it in the living room like she'd won the Nobel Prize. High school was even worse. I joined the art club, designed the school newspaper, and won 3 regional drawing contests. My parents stored my ribbons in a shoebox in the garage. When Rachel made the honor roll in freshman year, they threw her a party and invited the entire neighborhood. When I made the honor roll in sophomore year, Mom said, "That's nice, honey," and asked me to help Rachel with her math homework. The worst moment came when we turned 17. Our parents sat us down for the college talk. "Girls," Dad said, "you need to think seriously about your futures. Finance is a stable field, good money, job security. But I want to study art," I said. "I'm good at it. I could be a designer." "Art is a hobby," Mom interrupted. "You can't make a living drawing pictures." Rachel nodded along. "Finance sounds great. I've already looked at the local college." Of course she had. Rachel always knew what to say to make our parents happy. She figured out early that being the favorite meant never rocking the boat. But I couldn't abandon my dreams. I secretly applied to 3 art colleges, spending weeks on portfolios and essays about my passion for design. I didn't tell my parents. Then the acceptance letters arrived, not just acceptances, but scholarships. A full ride to Riverside, partial scholarships to the other 2. I was so excited I could hardly contain myself. One night at dinner, Rachel was talking about starting at the local college in the fall. That's when I dropped my news. Actually, I have something to share too. I got accepted to 3 art colleges. The silence was deafening. Mom's fork froze halfway to her mouth. Dad's face turned red. Rachel stared at me with a smug little smile. Dad slammed his hand on the table. "Are you out of your mind? You want to paint walls for a living? You don't need college for that." "It's not painting walls," I said, my voice rising. "It's interior design, graphic design, fine arts. It's a real profession." "Real profession?" Dad laughed, but it wasn't kind. "You're being foolish, Nain." Rachel giggled, covering her mouth as if to hide it, but I saw. "This is my calling," I said, standing up. "I can make good money doing this. It's a prestigious career." "Prestigious?" Dad stood too. "You know what's prestigious? Having a steady job, supporting yourself, not chasing some fantasy about being an artist." I wanted to tell them about the scholarships, to throw it in their faces that I was good enough for a full ride, that colleges wanted me. But something stopped me, maybe the way they looked at me, like I was a disappointment they'd always expected. "I'm not giving up on this," I said quietly. "This is my dream." "Then you're on your own," Dad said. "I'm not paying a dime for you to waste 4 years pretending to be an artist." Dinner was silent after that. Things got cold at home. My parents barely spoke to me, sticking to basics like, "Pass the salt," or "Did you do your chores?" Rachel wasn't much better. When our parents weren't around, she'd say, "You know they're right. You're going to end up broke and miserable." The months before graduation dragged on. I couldn't wait to leave and start my real life. When moving day came, I packed everything myself. No one helped. No one drove me to the airport. But you know what? Those 4 years at Riverside were the best of my life. I loved every class, every project, every late night in the studio. I had my own campus exhibitions. For my senior project, I designed an interior renovation for a downtown homeless shelter. My professor called it some of the best work they'd seen. I only spoke to my family a few times during college, brief calls where Mom asked if I was still doing the art thing. I'd say yes, and she'd change the subject. I never went home for holidays. I couldn't bear sitting at that table, hearing them praise Rachel while acting like I didn't exist. Now, here I am, 3 days before graduation. I should be excited, proud. Instead, I'm in my dorm room, staring at my phone, trying to muster the courage for one last call home. I dial before I can back out. Hello, Mom's voice is unchanged from 4 years ago. Hi, Mom. It's me. I wanted to invite you and Dad to my graduation. It's this Saturday, April 30th. I know it's short notice, but Saturday. She pauses. Oh, I'll be busy. I'm preparing for Rachel's graduation. My heart sinks, but I press on. Mom, Rachel's graduation is 2 weeks after mine. You could come to both. Another pause, longer. We're not coming, Nain. We're just not interested. Have a nice day. She hangs up. I sit there, holding the phone, unsurprised. Deep down, I knew they wouldn't come. They never showed up for anything that mattered to me. But it still stings. Saturday came and went. My graduation was beautiful. The campus was stunning, decked out in decorations, and I felt proud crossing the stage for my diploma. But there was an emptiness in my chest when I looked out and saw no familiar faces in the audience. The next week, I moved out of the dorms into a small apartment 20 minutes from campus. I'd saved money from part-time jobs during school, tutoring students in design software, freelancing logos, waiting tables on weekends. I wasn't rich, but I had enough to get by while job hunting. 2 weeks later, I was scrolling through social media when I saw something that made my stomach drop. Rachel posted photos from her graduation. There were Mom and Dad, dressed up, beaming with pride. Dad's arm was around Rachel. Mom held a bouquet of flowers. They looked so happy, so proud. Rachel's caption read, "So grateful for my amazing parents who've supported me every step of the way. Love you guys." I told myself not to care, that I was done expecting anything from them. But it hurt. 2 weeks later, Rachel posted again, announcing a graduation party. Celebrating my college graduation with friends and family. Can't wait to party with everyone who's been part of this journey. Message me if you want to come. That's when I got an idea. Maybe this was my chance to mend things. Maybe if I reached out, we could celebrate both our graduations together, a double celebration for both twins. I called Mom before I could overthink it. Hi, Mom. It's Nain. I saw Rachel's post about her graduation party. I was thinking maybe I could come, and we could make it a celebration for both of us, like a double graduation party. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Absolutely not. We don't want you there, Nain. You made your choice when you decided to become some pathetic artist instead of getting a real degree. We don't want to celebrate that. Her words hit like a slap. Mom, how can you say that? I graduated with honors. I have a degree. I'm looking for work in my field. Your field is a joke, Nain. You're wasting your life, and we're not going to pretend otherwise just to make you feel better. The line went dead. She'd hung up again. I sat on my couch and cried for hours, not just sad tears, but angry ones. How could they be so cruel? How could they say those things? I was their daughter too. I'd worked as hard as Rachel, maybe harder. But after all those tears, something shifted inside me. If they thought I was a pathetic artist, I'd show them what this pathetic artist could do. I threw myself into job hunting, updating my portfolio, sending out dozens of applications, working like crazy. Within a week, I had 3 interviews lined up. The third was at Sterling Design Group, one of the city's most prestigious interior design firms, specializing in high-end residential projects, million-dollar homes, celebrity clients. Your portfolio is impressive, said Janet Sterling, the owner. Your homeless shelter project shows real creativity and heart. Thank you, I said. I believe good design should be accessible to everyone, not just those who can afford it. I like that philosophy, Janet said, but I'll be honest. Most of our clients are very wealthy. Can you handle designing for people who spend more on a single room than most make in a year? I thought of my parents' cramped house where they'd never hung my art. I can handle it. Rich people deserve beautiful spaces too. Janet smiled. You start Monday. I couldn't believe it. I had a job working with some of the state's best designers. The salary was more than I'd ever imagined making right out of college. On my first day, I met Maya Chin, another junior designer who'd started a few months earlier. She was my age, funny, and incredibly talented. We clicked instantly. Over sandwiches, we shared our dreams and goals, where we wanted to be in 5 years. "I don't want to work for someone else forever," Maya said. "I want my own firm someday, to be my own boss, choose my own projects." I liked Maya's confidence. Her drive was infectious. "Maybe we could do it together someday," I said. "Start our own firm. It could be perfect." "Partners?" She held out her hand. "Partners." I shook it, knowing my life was about to change in ways I couldn't imagine. That night, I called my Aunt Linda, my mom's sister. She'd always been the cool aunt who listened when I talked about my art. I told her about graduation, the phone calls, what Mom had said. Linda listened without interrupting. "I'm sorry, sweetie. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but your parents have always had blinders on when it comes to Rachel. I'm done trying with them, Aunt Linda. I'm going to build my own life, and they can either be part of it or not. Good for you. You don't need their approval to be successful. You never did." After we hung up, I felt lighter, like I'd finally given myself permission to stop caring what they thought. I was going to prove them wrong, not to win them back, but to prove to myself I'd made the right choice. Working at Sterling Design Group was like attending graduate school every day. Maya and I threw ourselves into every project, learning from senior designers and absorbing everything about running a high-end design business. Our first big project together was a penthouse renovation for a tech executive who'd made millions in crypto. He had zero taste, but unlimited money. We spent weeks creating mood boards and 3D renderings, showing him how elegant design could feel luxurious without looking like a casino. By the end, even he admitted our vision was better than his. That's when Maya and I started seriously planning our own firm. We'd sketch business plans on napkins during lunch, dreaming about the projects we'd take on and the aesthetic we'd develop. 3 years flew by. Maya and I worked on dozens of projects, celebrity homes, corporate offices, boutique hotels, building our skills, confidence, and savings. "I think it's time," Maya said one evening after an exhausting project. "We've learned everything we can here. We're ready to go out on our own." She was right. We'd been talking about starting our own firm for so long, and now we had the experience and money to make it happen. We found a small office in an up-and-coming arts district, nothing fancy, but with great natural light and space for our workstations and a client meeting area. Our first projects were small, friends of friends, referrals from sterling colleagues, but word spread about our work. We listened to clients and elevated their visions in ways they hadn't imagined. Maya suggested filming our projects to show the transformation process. We started making short YouTube videos, documenting renovations with humor and personality. The videos took off faster than we expected. Within 2 years, we had hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Then an email arrived from Brian Matthews, executive producer at Home and Garden Cable Network. He'd watched our videos and wanted to discuss a television program based on our work. "Are you serious?" I asked during our call. "Dead serious. You two have something special, expertise with genuine entertainment value. We think you could have the next big renovation show." After months of negotiations, we agreed to do the show while running our design business. It was the perfect combination, giving us massive exposure while doing what we loved on a bigger platform. Design Dreams premiered 6 months later and was an instant hit. The show featured us working on real client projects, bringing energy and humor that made home renovation feel accessible and fun, not intimidating. "Welcome to another episode of Design Dreams" became my signature opening line. "I'm Nain, this is Maya, and we're about to turn this space into something incredible." Each episode followed a complete renovation, from client meetings to final reveals. We showed the disasters, when nothing went to plan, when we had to rethink our approach. People loved the real process. "You two are like the friends everyone wishes they had when renovating," one review said. "You make it look achievable." The show's popularity exploded in the second season. We went from a half-hour slot to a full hour, then got picked up for prime time. By the third season, we were one of the network's top-rated shows. With TV money and our thriving design business, Maya and I were making more than I'd ever imagined. We were recognized on the street, invited to industry events, featured in design magazines. Can you believe this is our life? Maya asked as we walked onto set for another episode. Sometimes I have to pinch myself, I admitted. 5 years ago, I was broke, and my parents thought I was an idiot for studying art. Well, you showed them. I had, and I was about to show them more. I'd been house hunting for months, dreaming of a space to design my way. When I found a 1920s craftsman with incredible bones but in desperate need of updating, I knew it was mine. Hardwood floors, original built-ins, huge windows, and a layout perfect for entertaining. It needed a complete renovation, which was ideal. I could document the entire process. What do you think about a special episode? I asked Maya. Document my whole house renovation, start to finish. Are you kidding? The audience would love seeing how you design for yourself versus clients. The network loved the idea too. Nain's Dream House became a 3-part special during Sweeps Week. Viewers saw every decision, paint colors, custom built-ins, creating the perfect home office studio. The special got the highest ratings in the show's history. Fans loved my personal style, and the house showcased what our firm could do with complete creative freedom. Standing in my finished living room, surrounded by furniture I'd chosen and art I'd commissioned, I felt an incredible sense of accomplishment. I'd built this life on my own terms. I was successful, happy, and finally proving to myself that following my dreams was the right choice. The best part? My parents had no idea how successful I'd become. Honestly, I liked it that way. This success was mine, built without their support or approval. It felt sweeter because of it. Life was perfect. Maya and I were filming the 4th season of Design Dreams. Our design firm had a year-long waiting list, and I was living in my gorgeous dream house, featured in 3 home magazines. I'd made it further than I'd ever imagined. Then, on a Tuesday morning, my phone rang. The caller ID showed my childhood home number, a number I hadn't seen in over 5 years. Hello, I answered cautiously. Nain, honey, it's Mom. Her voice was warm, sweet, completely different from our last call. What do you want? Oh, sweetheart, your father and I saw you on television. We had no idea you'd become so successful. We're so proud of you. I almost laughed. Proud of me? You called me a pathetic artist last time we talked. Now, honey, that was years ago. People change. We were just worried about your future. But look at you now, you have your own TV show. What do you need, Mom? There was a pause. We made mistakes, we admit that. But you're successful now, and we want to celebrate that with you. We want to be part of your life. I heard the manipulation, the fake sweetness. You only want to reconnect because I have money now. That's not true, she said, sounding offended, but it was an act. Although, since you're doing so well, maybe you could help us out a little, just temporarily. There it was the real reason. Help you out how? Well, we're going through a rough patch financially. Nothing major, just some temporary setbacks. I remembered her words from years ago, the venom when she refused to let me come to Rachel's party. You called me a pathetic artist, Mom. You said you didn't want to celebrate some pathetic artist's achievements. Nain, you need to learn to forgive. Family is family. Funny how you only remember that when you need something. I hung up before she could respond. They didn't give up. Over the next few weeks, my phone rang constantly, Mom, Dad, even Rachel. When I stopped answering, they switched to texts. Please call us back. We love you, from Mom. You're being selfish. We're your family, from Dad. I can't believe you're abandoning us like this, from Rachel. The messages grew desperate, then angry, then threatening. If you don't help us, everyone will know what kind of person you really are, from Rachel. You'll regret treating your family this way, from Dad. Finally, Rachel sent a message that made me furious. I'm going to go on talk shows and tell everyone how you refuse to help your struggling family. See how your precious fans react to that. That's when I called my lawyer, Marcus Weber. He'd handled our TV show contracts and become a good friend. They're threatening to go public with lies about me refusing to help them, I explained. What can I do? Do you have evidence of these threats? Screenshots of everything. Perfect. Let me draft a cease and desist letter. If they try to slander you publicly, we'll sue for defamation and harassment. Send me those screenshots. Marcus crafted a professional but firm letter, making it clear that any public statements about me would lead to immediate legal action and that we had documentation of their harassment and threats. I never heard from them again after that letter was sent. A few months later, Aunt Linda called with the real story. "I thought you should know why they really wanted to reconnect," she said. "I already know. They needed money." "It's worse than that, honey. Rachel started a business after college with your parents' money. They even took out a second mortgage on their house to fund it." "What kind of business?" "Some online boutique, handmade jewelry and accessories. Your parents were convinced she'd be the next big entrepreneur." I could picture it, Rachel, the golden child, convincing them to invest everything in her surefire success. Let me guess, it didn't work out. The business collapsed after 3 years. Rachel had no idea what she was doing, bad inventory decisions, terrible marketing, no business plan. They lost everything. How much? Everything. The bank is threatening to foreclose on their house. They're drowning in debt. That's why they suddenly decided you were worth talking to again. I should have felt bad for them, some sympathy for my parents losing their home. But I felt nothing. Maybe that made me a terrible person, but I couldn't care. Thanks for telling me, Aunt Linda. Are you okay with all this? I'm fine. Actually, I'm better than fine. I'm free. And I was. For the first time, I was completely free from caring what my family thought. They'd shown their true colors, and I was done feeling guilty for their choices. Maya and I kept working on the show, growing our business. We were planning a home goods line and maybe a book on design principles. The future was full of possibilities. Any regrets? Maya asked one day as we wrapped filming. About what? My family? Walking away from all that. She nodded. No, I don't regret any of it. They had years to support me, to believe in me, to treat me like I mattered. They chose not to. I'm not going to feel guilty for succeeding without them. Good for you. You built this life yourself. You don't owe them anything. She was right. I'd proven my dreams were worth chasing, that my parents were wrong about everything. I was successful, happy, and surrounded by people who valued me. My family could keep their drama, their favoritism, their conditional love. I had something better, a life built on my own terms, and nobody could take that away from me.